So you mean to tell me that that's a dude on the left? Wait, which one's what? If you don't understand why people think there's some sort of strange gay agenda going on in the media, you obviously haven't watched the sports shows. Look at these two. You're telling me, okay, Kate Fagan. Kate Fagan. Okay. You mean to tell me she's a lesbian? No. Really? Couldn't have figured that one out. And on top of that, like, are we? Is that even a woman? Is that a woman? This is why people they get into this transhumanism, transgender, gender bending nonsense, and people like talk about it, and it's always coming from the Christians, but they're not wrong. Like, look at this insanity. And the dude on the right there, Gutierrez, he came out as gay? No, really, did he? Did he? Get out of here. No one would have ever believed that. I mean, is this the same person? And see, this is the analog here. This is the morphing of the male and female into one thing. And this is a larger thing if there is a control mechanism, if there is an agenda, if there is something going on that's very strange and elusive, it's not very elusive. These two are on the same sports program. How do you get things like this? I mean, they're gonna. I don't know what gender they are, but I'm guessing one's a female and one's a male. I don't know which one has which parts though. But they both kind of have caveman eyebrows. Like, man, this gets into even why people think people were made in laboratories. This gets into why people go, oh no, there's clone centers. Like, we look at Kanye's new pictures, and you can look at Dave Chappelle, and you can look at all of these other celebrities. I mean, we get into the real old school stuff and get into Rocky Balboa, get into Sylvester Stallone and the change he made. I mean, yeah, I guess it could be all just plastic surgery and altering people. I mean, but nonetheless, it's all revolved around the same architecture of plasticization. You know, plastic surgery. Like, why are we turning everything to plastic? It's binding things to the dead world of plasticity, to, you know, the one essence. No, we're all the same thing. No, we're not. We're all the same consciousness. But we're all individuals. We have our individual experience here, and that's what's being attempted to, and it's always has. People think the kings and queens and rulers of the Roman Empire went anywhere. No, they just do it different now. The whole system is the architecture hasn't gone anywhere. And this is the next level of it. This is the next step of it. This identity, gender, like, what's going on here? You want a funny story? I was going on a Tinder date the other day. I asked one of my friends, a girlfriend of mine. I was like, "Hey, what you think of this chick right here? It's pretty dope, yeah." Yeah, I scrolled through like 4 photos. Oh, you already know where this story's going. You want to laugh at me? I scrolled through like 4 photos. I was like, and I showed her a couple other chicks, and I was like, "So which one do you like the best?" "Oh, the black girl right there. She's pretty." Like, yeah, she is pretty. Yeah. All right. So text her, "What's up? Why don't you come through? You know, let's hang out." Now, when this thing comes to the door, it's as big as me. Giant hands, broad shoulders. I was like, what is happening? What is going on here? Literally, there was no way this wasn't a transgender or someone claiming to be something they weren't. But yet, it was so shit, who I am. I was like, all right, let's hang out. This is funny to me. I get a good laugh out of this. I mean, this bee was 150 pounds, 5'10". I'll put air quotes around she. She kept saying how beautiful she was, and I mean, she was playing some games. But like, this is fun. It's funny to me. Like, this is. And then, you know, so I got to talking because I'm interested in people's lives and understanding, how do you think like this? How did you become this way? And, you know, obviously all the weird things that went on in this person's childhood, religion, abusive father, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I mean, we see where this comes from. But even at this abusive, you know, even on an individual level, you can see how it's instilled into people to act different. But I'm talking about the cultural and the cultural normalization of bizarre, like of the obscene, of the what are we doing here? Like that the mind has been steered and altered and changed and molded in such a way that people can't even identify with who they are in any way, that they think they were built wrong. Like, I mean, everyone's, since the beginning of time, like, you come out the womb, you're a sinner, you're built wrong. But then the science community says, no, your body's all screwed up, let's cut up the genitals, let's remove this piece, let's remove your tonsils, it's not working. Not at all concerned with the fact that people's tonsils are all screwed up because of all the pollutants in the air and everything we're breathing, and that's our first line of defense. I mean, this whole idea is that culture has been so, pasteurized and homogenized, and literally homogenized, turned into all of the same thing, that somehow, like, I accept whatever these things are, like, there's nothing wrong with them, but they don't know that. I mean, we talk about just being on television alone and how that steers people to, to make that money, to get that thing, to, dress this way, to look like that. But the pursuit of this worldly thing and how people are steered and manipulated and controlled to such a high degree that, I always go, well, I don't know, these people that are on TV, they're just repeating something. They're already brain dead. Even ones with personality, they have brain disorders. They've been confused about who they were as, the supreme architect of the world. I mean, that is the truth. That's what they all are. That's what you are. But even if I don't go that far with it, just the simple idea of whatever this larger landscape of the control mechanisms and the things going on here, of how so many things on TV, these really, the gender bending, the homogenization of features and characteristics, all turning people into the same thing. People don't even recognize it as this type of communism. Like, you have to understand. We'll dip into this a little deeper. Communism, where does it come from? Communism occurs in certain ways. We have to understand that an economic system in the beginning is what changes things. When you have a currency system, what that does is it leverages energy and power. It leverages things. And so those economic systems, when you put that in front of a word like being a communist or having a community, it changes everything. Because no longer is it. You've capitalized everything. So the idea of homogenization takes place. I don't care what society you live in. The idea that there's any type of monetary system, as soon as that's in place, that's the control mechanism. That's a leveraging system. And then from there, the outpouring is, you get into the science and the media and the religion and all of these things to architect some sort of consciousness to control your thought processes. In so much as to control not only your physical, because if your thoughts are what they'd like it to be, then your physicality is what they'd like it to be. And now if they get everybody thinking they're exactly the same, and you can, it's, oh no, you're all the same, don't worry. And in that there's a great deal of power. You can't have people 50 different cultures and believe strongly in their heritage and narrative of their own history, because we don't know our own history. I mean, if you start backtracking your history, you got people that think they're from Africa. People still believe that 6 million slaves came over from Africa. No, they're native to the land. They're indigenous. They're the copper people. Like, there's not African Americans here. It's bogus. The whole thing is, the whole history has been literally whitewashed, and in this way, and it's not even just whitewashed. It's patriarchal. It comes through so many different outpourings of control and dominator complexes. So we have people really indigenous to the land, but they don't. But how could they know that? Their history has been wiped away. Why? Because, I mean, as far as I can tell, it seems like, it's the gears of war, and what gears have to do with time, and gears have to do with leveraging principles, and gears that turn into guns. And if you have the guns, and the others don't, you can slaughter from a distance. You don't have to. There's no, if there's any kind of honor in fighting, it's hand-to-hand combat, yeah? Like, you could be talking, go far back, then, and there's something uniquely human about that. To kill, like, and this goes even to like people that talk about like killing animals. Like, if you can do it with your hands, I'd like to see it. But as soon as we get into tools and technology and leveraging things, and all of a sudden we distance ourselves, you can bomb someone from the air. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, to just slaughter, like that. This whole idea of slaughtering masses. It was first done with how far away can I kill that person? Literally take away their human life and their family. Okay, once that happens, can we get a hold of their books? Can we alter the text? Okay, one generation, their children might. Okay, but no, you got a new God. Like, we're talking about the Inquisition on many levels here. And so, when we talk about this larger, all-out agenda, like, how could it be performed over so many, what seems to be thousands of years? But I mean, how would you know? How could we know? Because if all the books have been rewritten and nobody has claimed or maintained any of their true heritage, you only have a few places with true indigenous folk, and their history of the world is only imparted down through mouth to ear, and that's only in small little regions. So their history of the world is going to be according to their local environment and traditions. But now all of a sudden we have what is anybody's tradition, and how does it occur that we have so many? We have this long line, this long lineage of what are they? People like to point to all these different, the Freemasons and the Zionists, and then you have all of these different levels to this thing. And trust me, I went through this whole thing, dozen years ago, where I was like, oh, it's all of this. But then it gets deeper and it gets crazier and it gets more confusing and confounded. That could you ever dig up your own history? Could you ever find it? Is there a treasure chest somewhere? Are these books held? I mean, can we go to the Vatican? Can we all find the books that were held onto and learn our true heritage as individuals? I mean, and what's the purpose of not allowing people to understand their true heritage and their true history and their own power as architects and creators of everything? I mean, is that what it is? Is that truly it? The fall of man, meaning somebody came here and forgot, and they needed to maintain power and control because they didn't understand what death is, and these people are really just walking around not knowing they're controlled by the same mechanism that they're using to control others, that their magical world is something, it's an imaginary place, and they think death really occurs? Or are they really immortal and they're just using, there's a lot of ways to look at this, but certainly where we are now is what we can play with, what we can orchestrate from, what we can think about. Does our history really matter? Yeah, quite a bit to a degree, but then again, I guess the only place we're going is forward or inside, internally. I mean, everybody look inside, you'll find it. Yeah, it's all self-reflective, but it's outside of you too, and I'm not talking about, in the sense of a linear construct of time, even though time doesn't really exist. What is being created? Where do we go from here, and how to do it? And I'd given a talk on the flat Earth thing, and if y'all want to check that out, I don't even know if I posted it yet. It's like 30 minutes of me babbling on about flat Earth and the way it gets in the way of consciousness, because people use it as it's a roadblock to people thinking, just like so many other isms and they're stopping points of thinking, or of exploring, or feeling, or understanding, or understanding. But where are we now? And why has it occurred? And okay, who cares about why? What is occurring? Look at these two people. Are they robots? I mean, did they grow them in a lab? Are their genitals what they should be? How did their mind get so mixed up that they didn't think they were made right in the correct image? Oh, they've always felt a certain way. No, we're not gonna play that game. I mean, these are people playing sports for a living, or whatever, or they're broadcasting, they're repeating something for a living. You think they're like consciously aware of like the whole human condition and have really scoped that out? Like, they grew up in a very high energy system that was obviously got them into high level sports, and in that there's a lot of You know, you have coaches and dominators and discipline, and it's a lot of instruction, and from a young age. I mean, look at people that grow up thinking that God is real, like that God is some guy hung on a cross, or that, you know, this type of thing. You could have someone thinking anything growing up, like these two right here. Oh, gay and lesbian, or whatever. I don't even know what body parts they have where they put on there. But the point is, how those thoughts form manifestations, and if those manifestations, meaning, oh no, I think I like this, oh I don't like that. You know, they had a bad mother, a bad father. It steers them in a direction. They're like, oh, you always find this to happen. There's always that, for the gay man, there's always that grandmother influence. Not always, but there tends to be. And then you can look into and I'm talking about the larger societal constructs that even force these kind of things. You know, you pull the dominant man out of the family. You feminize them. You make them weak. You turn them into, I mean, it's going too far in one direction. You know, there's obviously the divine feminine that most men aren't aware of, because the teeter-totter goes back and forth in two opposite directions so far that there's no balance. Because the balance to the male energy is the female energy inside of oneself. It's not you were made wrong going the other direction, but so where are we now that we're observing things like us, you know, because it's always happened. Again, I did this last video on almonds being poison and how silly that is, and how it is that everything is a sin, everything's poison, unless of course it's, and this always gets back to this transhumanism agenda, this inorganics. I'll call it the inorganics agenda, if that can be such, because the point of it is, the more plasticized someone is, the more plasticized you can, you know, put in someone, the more you can control them. If you can control their mind to even make them want that, they have something to buy. Yeah, you know, and then they have to worship and they're be controlled and manipulated by things outside of themselves. I mean, that's all what it's always been. So I don't know if there's an end game or an end goal that a lot of people talk about. I mean, yeah, it seems to be, but like, how long has this been going on for? And they've always had the same amount of control. How many people are going to buy into the larger things? How brainwashed are people? And I don't even think brainwashing is the word, because washing is to clean something. If you want to brainwash, well, here, come listen to what I got to say. I'll wash your brain for you. So there was a little ramble for you guys. Just a couple questions to ask about where are we now, and what is, you know, what can you do for yourself to improve your state of being? And as always, I'll point to my other almost 400 videos now of how to cleanse yourself and clean up your consciousness, your body, your spirit, your what the other realms are. And when I speak of realms, I mean just as simple as your dream world, your subconscious mind, or realms even deeper, to get out of body, to you know, walk around in this place, or to go to different densities. So, have a beautiful day, everybody. Cheers.